to the show with your friend and mine. So tell me, Dr. Squee, who's it gonna be this time? We like to hear you talk, but we love to hear you listen. And if you are not subscribed, you won't know what you're missing. So welcome to the Dr. Squee Show. Welcome to the Dr. Squee Show. Welcome to the Dr. Squee Show. Headphones up. Here we go.
Hello and welcome to the Dr. Squee Show. I'm Dr. Squee and this here is my show. Tonight we are talking to an actress who is known for such films and TV shows as MacGyver, The Verdict, Devil's Cove, The Righteous Gemstones most recently, as well as Introducing Jodea, which I will just show the posters for right here. We're going to talk to her about all that and so much more. Please welcome to the Dr. Squee Show, Chloe Traicos. How are you doing tonight, Chloe?
I'm good, thanks. Yes.
And I just suddenly realized as I was making that intro that I bravely didn't check the pronunciation of your surname, so I hope I got that correct.
Almost. It was Traicos, but yeah, no, it's
Traicos. I apologize.
No, don't apologize. It was great. It was fine.
Excellent. How was everything in your area of the world in this most interesting of times for us?
Oh, great. We're opening up, we're open up again, which is fantastic. And it's like you can now, the things you didn't appreciate before, now you do. Hey, I'm seeing people's faces again.
Not just like this.
Yeah.
So for you, how did it all start? Where did you first get your beginnings in acting?
Well, it was something I always wanted to do. I grew up in Zimbabwe. There wasn't much of an acting scene there. I was part of a theater group. When we moved to Australia, it was something I was really passionate about. So I formed my own theater company and, started putting on plays. And then from there, I just went on to making my own films. It was, and a large part brought about by the fact that there's a very small industry in Australia and very, very few roles for women. So it was kind of out of necessity that I started doing that.
And it's such a brave move already to get into acting, not the most stable of careers, but to go from Zimbabwe to Australia to be working in America now. How was that journey and what gave you the kind of chutzpah to go ahead and take on all those multiple challenges?
Well, I think, the move from Zimbabwe to Australia was with my family. We immigrated because of the political issues. And then, when you, in the film industry, you technically always have to come to LA. It's just the way it is. It's just, it's a case of when you have something that you want to do, you kind of just have to do it. And, you have to, if you want to make films, you have to go to LA and that's what I did.
Excellent. So one of the programs I did want to ask about was The Verdict with Judge Hatchett.
Yes.
I'm not familiar with that particular one, but I absolutely love Judge Judy and all these kind of wonderful courtroom TV shows which they do. What was it like being part of one of those shows?
It was very strange. I did the audition on a Sunday, and then I got the call back on the Thursday. They said, we want you to come in tomorrow. And I was like, okay. And so it was just like very, very fast. I went in there. They did, it was they did my makeup. There were hardly any rehearsal time. You just go in there, you're told these are your lines, and then you're out again. It was very fast, and then they pay you then and there. It was it was literally just less than a day, a few hours.
Okay, brilliant. Just curious about that. And MacGyver was the other thing. I grew up watching the original. What's it like to get onto a big production like that?
It was great. It was just, it was as I said, I personally prefer the original too, but it was just, it was, again, that was just a tiny role. It was not that wasn't really a big thing. It was just, it was great. It's always good working on the big productions.
Brilliant. So something which you were a bit more involved with was the Devil's Cove, and
Yes.
that was a role which was, so you got into this lesbian relationship, we ended up killing a man. There's a lot of kind of like big dark themes in that. There's violence towards women, a lot of this stuff which is coming to the surface more and more as the years go on. What's it like tackling such a heavy role as that?
It was a lot of fun. It was it was Jackie McGann, the character, is a sociopath, which I've always been fascinated by sociopaths, and I studied them fully for the role. So it's like and it's quite liberating to play one, because you kind of don't they don't have any emotions. I mean, they have emotions, but not for anyone else. And it was actually a lot of fun doing that. And it was also, I mean, it was quite revolutionary in that, yes, here we had a film that was, you have numerous movies about male serial killers. Well, here's one about a female serial killer who seduces the men and kills them, which I liked. And I mean, it did very well in the festivals. It's got a huge following online, but yeah, it was a lot of fun working on the script and subsequently making the movie. Yeah.
And for yourself, like, is it? Do you feel the responsibility of as such a story, even though it's a fictional story, there are so many issues around domestic violence. Does it feel like a responsibility to take on that heavier subject?
No, when I have an idea for a story, I just do it, and it's like there's always something attached when you make a movie. Someone always comes forward and goes, "Oh, but you might offend this group," or, "Oh, this is this domestic violence. You might," and it's just something which and I always just respond by saying, "No, this is its own individual story. This is." So it's I mean, it wasn't really making a statement about domestic violence. I mean, I guess in a way it was kind of I kind of did like the fact that here were women kind of abuse, the ones sort of like wearing the pants, shooting the men, and all of that. No offense, no offense to the male population. It was just something different, which I like doing. So yeah, but no, I didn't take it on thinking I'm doing this to be a feminist, or it was just an idea that I had and I really liked it. And, it was just, again, just with all my films, just a story that I'm just, that's just being told. Yep.
It must be really great though to be able to go in there and write films from the female perspective. Like I always say, I feel like I've seen enough films from my perspective. I've seen enough white straight male. Like I think I've seen that movie a few times. So it's always nice when you get to see the different perspectives.
It is. It is very nice. It is nice to and I definitely I'm a huge fan of seeing all these new movies where with strong female leads. I love it. It's good. Yep.
And for you, do you? I'm guessing from your previous answer, probably not. But do you have any issues shaking off a kind of like a darker character like that, or is it just the end of the day I go home?
Well, yeah, with a sociopath, I mean, I'm a method actor. Don't worry, I didn't kill anyone while shooting that. But
not quite that method.
Yeah, not quite that method. But it's but so I do really get into it, and the thing with the sociopath is that they don't have the deeper feelings. So it was like often when I was on set, I'd find myself worrying about something, and then I'd have to change my thinking to think how Jackie would have thought. So it was like, okay, so if Jackie were on set now, she'd be thinking, there's the guy's wallet. How do I get it from him? So it's kind of like, so thinking like that, is actually quite liberating. So I didn't have a problem shaking off. I've had a harder time shaking off like characters with depressive issues, or because they are much deeper and more, Jodea was a lot harder because, she has a lot of insecurities. So that was, so the dark character I played was actually it was more of an easier one emotionally.
Although the good thing is, after picking up those skills, you did take 3 wallets on your way home, I believe.
Sorry, 3 what? 3 wallets.
3 wallets.
Yeah. So yeah. Yep. It was. Look, it was just it was fascinating. Just playing that role and getting. I mean, and look, those people are out there, and male and female sociopaths, and you kind of it is how they think.
So getting onto, because you mentioned it there, introducing Jodea.
Yes.
What is it like? For me, when I watched the film, it was kind of like I got a lot of vibes of She's All That, a lot of Pretty Woman, and these kind of like classic tales, but obviously all mixed together in a brand new kind of formula. What was it which attracted you to this movie? To do this movie?
I mean, I think it was. I mean, I think a lot. I mean, look, the Pygmalion type story is one that's always fascinated me, and I mean, as it's basically I have the idea came to me when I was working for a producer back in Australia, and I was delivering a script to him at one of the top agencies, and traffic was really bad, and I was getting very frustrated. I had to find a parking spot, and I just kept thinking, what if a world famous director walked out of the agency right now and drove into the back of my car? And that kind of, the idea just triggered from there. And then also with the various acting lessons I've had, that kind of, I kind of worked that into it too. And then I sort of came up with this Pygmalion type story, which, as I said, one of my favorite movies of all time is My Fair Lady, which you can probably see the inspiration in here.
Yeah. I just love the fact that it also seemed like there might have been a little bit of therapy talking about Hollywood in this film.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of revenge. Having a, because I do bring that across in a humorous way. It's like, every actress has always been, everyone going up in this business gets told the hard truth. You're not pretty enough for this role or whatever. And so I wanted to bring that across in a very lighthearted way to make people laugh.
Brilliant. And were there any true stories which you put in there?
Everything was greatly exaggerated. I haven't, no, I've often been told, the thing is with Hollywood is the agents never tell you you're not pretty. They always say you have the wrong look. Which means you're not pretty, which pretty much, and that's kind of like, so that was so Grant's character is very exaggerated. And then also the fact that, I was just saying in an interview earlier, one of my favorite lines is, when Grant says to Zach, you don't cast movies with actors who are good. You cast them with people who can sell. Which again is another thing with Hollywood, which is just, the number, trying to get movies off the ground. And they're always, that's always like, they don't care. Oh no, well, they don't sell. They don't sell. So it was kind of like, there is a lot of truth, some of the truth in that, but times 100% to make it funny. That's kind of like, what I used, what I did.
Is it? I can imagine it would be actually more difficult as an experience as a great actor to actually play an actor who's kind of like needs a bit of practice, shall we say, as this character does near the beginning of the film. How do you put yourself in that space and sort of switched off every instinct you've got as an actor?
Oh, it was funny actually, because when we started rehearsals, John said to me, Chloe, you're doing it too well. You're acting too well. When I thought I was acting badly, he said, you've got to really exaggerate it. So for me, the challenge was finding out a justification for why my character would do that. And it comes around to, she was taught wrong. She was taught, you have to be bigger, you have to do all that. And that's the case with a lot of actors. They are taught wrong. It was certainly my case when I started out. I went to acting classes and I was taught to do emotional recall. They said, oh no, that's the way actors work. You've got to do emotional recall. And it took me a while to realize that doesn't work for me. I can't work with emotional recall. I can't take myself away from the situation I'm in and remember something that happened to me as a 5-year-old. I lose my concentration and I come across horrible. And so, that's kind of Jodea's problem as a soul. She was told the wrong way and she thinks it's right, but it's not.
And have you ever got that feeling yourself of being undermined and being used by Hollywood in this way? Because just the character obviously is used for a bet, which is the most disrespectful way in which someone can be treated. And I think, unfortunately, far too much of that seems to go on in Hollywood.
Oh, totally. I had I had an experience. It does. It's you use who you can use. It's very it is very there is I was working with a good Judd Nelson is a very dear friend of mine, and I had a director contact me and they said, if you can get the script to Judd, you can play the female lead opposite him. And so I got the script to him, and so, and that's what we believed the understanding was. And then a few months go by and I'm talking to the producer again. He's like, well, yeah, maybe Chloe, you won't play the lead. You'll have this little tiny role. Anyway, when I told Judd, he was furious. He said, well, if you're not playing the lead, I'm not in it. And that was that. So, he's clearly an honorable guy who hates Hollywood and that side of it. But there was that element of, they clearly wanted that whole thing of using people, which, and I really felt that they just were like, yeah, we'll give you the lead, but get us Judd Nelson. And then, and then it was kind of like, well, no, we don't really need you, Chloe. So there is so much of that in Hollywood.
It's wonderful also to hear of an established actor like him still opening the door and keeping the door open for others to come through.
Oh yeah, Judd's amazing, and he actually he was going to play Zach in this, but he had a film shoot in Europe that went over, and we were with Jodea, we had a 6-week window in which to shoot because our director was coming out from Australia. He was back to back with projects, and we just couldn't shift our dates and times. And we tried to make it work because I really wanted Judd, and then we ended up it just wasn't going to work. So yeah, no, he's an outstanding guy, and just really he and a very very good friend.
How do you find like making these independent films versus the more studio productions such as Righteous Gemstones? Is like I understand there's kind of like this immediacy to it, which is great, but also obviously there's all the pressures of an independent film.
Right. Well, I mean, I think to me the main thing is with Gemstones, it's just cool because I'm just acting, and I don't have to worry about anything. Whereas with independent filmmaking, you're kind of like you worried about this, you worried about okay, we can't shoot over at a certain time because it's kind of like there's so much responsibility on you. And with Gemstones, there isn't that. There you are treated like a celebrity, and I mean, I can remember the one this latest episode of Gemstones, the shoes I was wearing were too tight, and which was fine. They were fine for most of the day, but they then started to hurt. So I was in between takes. I was putting on these slippers, and I can remember like walking from the location to the dressing room was, I don't know, it was a couple of feet, but I was like, I pulled off the shoes to walk barefoot, and there's a wardrobe person. They're like, no, you can't walk barefoot. Here your slippers. And I was kind of like, no, it's okay, it's fine. So there's that element which is it's really lovely. It's being pampered, and it's and everyone was so sweet. They're just such lovely people. But independent film, you don't have that. It's kind of you kind of it's all do it all yourself, and and make it work.
Well, we brought it up, so let's go on to the Righteous Gemstones a little bit. Yes. What a wonderful cast for a start. Led particularly, one of my heroes is John Goodman. I grew up watching Roseanne. King Ralph was hilarious.
Yes. Yes, he's great.
Such an amazing actor. Can you just tell us a bit about working with him to begin with?
Or sure. He's a complete gentleman, the nicest man. On my first day on set, he actually came over to me and introduced himself. The thing about him which I remember was between when we were shooting the first season, they had like a shuttle bus taking the actors from the location back to the set, back to base, and they stopped. It was like the lunch tent was like at one end of a parking lot, and so they stopped the bus to go into the parking lot. I thought they were stopping, so I started to get off, and they said, no, we'll take you right to the tent. And I was like, look, it's just right there, I can walk. And they were like, okay. So I got out, and then I turned around, I saw John Goodman had also got out and walked with me. But he was also like a complete gentleman. Like every time we were getting off the bus, he would get out first and help everyone down. Like just a really, really stand-up guy.
Fantastic. And also, of course, Danny McBride, Adam Devine.
Yes.
What are those guys like?
Well, Adam Devine wasn't in. I was in the flashback episodes, but Danny McBride's amazing. And I was really, really, really flattered. Like with this time around, when I came, he greeted me by congratulating me on Introducing Jodea. He'd been following it, and I thought that was really nice that he did that for me, who's playing a tiny role in his series. I thought, he's a wonderful man.
And we're just going into season 2 now with Righteous
Gemstones.
Yes,
so season 2's airing, I think, January 9th.
Brilliant. I think we get it over Netflix over here, if I'm remembering correctly,
really?
But I believe so. I would have to double check it. But sorry, Prime Video. Pardon me. Sorry, I'm getting my stream services, I think, mixed up. How was it like the shoot for you and can you tell us a bit about your character in Gemstones?
Well, she's kind of I'm basically, I play Walton Goggins' fourth wife. And it's just like, it's more like about Walton's character, Baby Billy, is a very over the top, hilarious character. But it's kind of, my role is kind of, I'm really just the sort of quiet wife who just looks out for their son. It's like with his, his other wife, Tiffany, in the later episodes. She it's like the women in Baby Billy's life are just kind of fade into the background. He takes over. So, she's just a devoted mother, and kind of just lets her husband, kind of worships her husband, lets him do what he wants to do.
And it must be like I think there's such a skill to putting nuance into these characters who, as you say, kind of like are a bit quieter, a bit more in the background. How do you
Yes.
add value to the performance, like in such a way, without kind of stepping the boundaries of what the character is?
It's a very good question. I mean, it's something you kind of like just. I mean, I always, you know, study a character thoroughly beforehand. You work out what their inner monologue is. You work out what they're thinking, and then you just find like the little things just come. Just it just like it comes naturally. So yeah, it's just how I mean. I mean, they're no small characters. They're just small actors. It just every character, doesn't matter how small a role it is, you kind of have to know that character, know where they're coming from, and you have to treat this as your life. You have to give it everything you've got.
And looking forward, what are the stories you're looking forward to tell? Is there anything you're working on at the moment?
Yeah, I'm working on several things. I don't really talk about them till they happen. It's just kind of like the film industry is so unpredictable, and it's so as you talked about, people using people. The thing is with Hollywood is you kind of don't know who you can trust. It's very I mean, I do love the people in California, but I miss a lot of the Australian straightforwardness. It's, here they will lead you on. I love your script. I love this, whereas Australia, if they don't like it, they'll just tell you.
Yeah.
They'll say, look, this isn't going to happen, and I miss that. I really, and I try to be like that. I try not to lead people on. I try to say, look, if someone asks me to do a project, which have no intention of doing, I usually tell them. So I kind of don't really talk about projects till they've actually happened. That's just my own personal thing.
Of course. Now, I mean, from my Australian friends, I never have to wonder what they think. Always very forthright, and I
Yes.
appreciate it them
Oh,
for that.
it's a breath of fresh air. I love it. It's so they tell you exactly what they think, and they don't it's one thing which I miss again is like in Hollywood there is this whole pandering to celebrities like they're gods, whereas Australia nobody really cares, and I love that. It just it's like they treat everyone the same. It's great.
Are you planning on any projects in Australia again, or are you just focusing on the
Oh, yeah. I mean, I
US?
would love to make more films over there. I mean, I can't get over there now because of COVID, the COVID laws. It's just so frustrating because my family are all there. But yeah, I would. There are a lot of projects I would love to make in Australia because it's such a beautiful country and it has so many amazing locations. And it's a much easier lifestyle there than here. It's because I mean, I guess it's a much smaller population.
And speaking of
Yeah.
like we spoken a lot about indie movies, and I know a lot of people are often aspiring to do more stuff within indie film. What's your top advice to someone who wants to get into that?
Who's just starting out, like an actor or
Yeah,
a
once
crew
starting
member?
in particularly indie film, I find fascinating, and that kind of sort of guerrilla filmmaking, if you will.
Right. I mean, I think the thing is, I mean, I think every indie filmmaker loves what they do. They have to love it and they have to want it. So if you're going in there from the point of view thinking, I'm going to make a whole lot of money, then this isn't the right career. Then you got to become an accountant or a lawyer or a doctor. If you want to go into indie filmmaking, you do it not expecting to get any money, not expecting to get any favorite treatment. You have to do the hard yards. You have to work the long hours. Get up the next day. Nobody's going to pander to you. You have to do it. You have to make it happen because you love a project and you believe in a project. Otherwise you're in the wrong career. You're in the wrong industry.
I love that. Introducing Jodea, I believe, is now available to stream.
Yes, iTunes, Amazon, and then we're going to be on Netflix in January, February. Yep.
Oh, fantastic. And Righteous
Yes.
Gemstones, I believe season 2, is it out? Yeah, it's just about to start streaming.
January 9th, I think is when it opens. Yep.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for sparing some time for us tonight.
Thank you. And lovely to chat, and have a wonderful weekend.
Excellent. Oh, so before I do let you go, though, this chat will go out on my radio show on Tuesday. Is there any song I can play for you at all?
Any song? Wow, I'm getting a
Anything
song.
you like.
Anything from any era.
Anything.
Is this is it like to do with my movie, or just for for
Any
me,
song you
or
want to hear. It can be about your movie. It can be generally just a song that you fancy.
Wow. Oh, that's
Yeah.
such a nice thing to do. I haven't had anyone offer that for any of my what about David Bowie's Starman?
Oh, I will never say hello to David Bowie. So
I love
if
David
anyone's
Bowie.
listening on the
It's
radio,
you know,
please enjoy that now.
and I'll
Otherwise,
just tell you, yeah, sorry.
sorry, please. Yeah.
I do have a David Bowie story for you, which
Oh,
I have to
always.
share. Because I don't know. Well, I don't know if you saw my IMDb bio. You're English, you know what cricket is. It's not the small animal. We're talking about the game. My dad used to play cricket internationally, and so there was
Wow.
I think David Bowie was somewhat of a cricket follower, being from your part of the world. But he at one point one time he was doing this live question answer thing. I think it was on Twitter. And when I was a kid, I used to have a huge crush on him, and I always used to say, "I'm going to marry David Bowie, so my name can be Chloe Bowie." Anyway, so when we were on Twitter, I said this to him, and he said, he responded, "Actually, I prefer the name David Traicos," which I thought was very funny.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah,
Thank you very much, Chloe.
no
Best
worries.
of luck with millions of streams, I'm sure, for the movie. It's so exciting. It's going on to Netflix as well.
Yes, thank you, and really appreciate you taking the time. And have a wonderful evening, and have a great weekend.
Thank you very much. Great weekend for you too. Thank you very much, Chloe. I've been Dr. Squee. That was my show. And please, everyone, remember, in a world where you can be absolutely anything, please be kind.